is the list and the agenda and everything.
Yeah, I posted that today.
Yeah.
I talked to Derek about.
Yeah,
Okay.
IPFS.
Well, IPFS, it's up. I don't know if you can see it. You know, if
Nope.
you put up on, it just takes a long time for it to go up. We talked about, see, we got your site, the videos. Okay, he separated it by videos, MP3s, and the site. And your videos came up. It just takes a long time. You know, he says his are going up pretty fast. Okay, I have IPFS of Corbett up now, and the video, it just takes a while because I clicked it, and it's up now. Yeah, he's working on it. We're trying to get and find out what the deal is. The big problem is that I don't know if the more popular it is, the faster it goes, or it's supposed to increase the speed. So we encourage people to do it. It's just that they have a constant update. We can talk about it on the show, but they have a constant update IPFS gateways, and I'm wondering if they're under attack. But that doesn't matter for me because we have all the data, and he's putting it on another one in South Carolina too. There's a main one, and we have all the little ones. But we're learning. You know, we're doing. But we got data, and it's working. It's just slow.
Okay.
But
not coming up for me.
Well, I don't know if you can see. You can't see my screen, but it came up. I
could almost see the reflection in your glasses.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all right. I'll take your word for it. There it is. Yeah.
Well, that's the IPFS, and the thing is that we're going to keep on it. It's got to be this or something like it, because I'm just not, letting this go, because now's the freaking time. All right, you ready?
Let's do it.
Hit record.
It's time for Declare Your Independence with Ernest Hancock.
Believe me when I say we have a difficult time ahead of us. But if we are to be prepared for it, we must first shed our fear of it. I stand here without fear because I remember that I am here not because of the path that lies before me, but because of the path that lies behind me. I remember that for 100 years we have fought these machines. And after a century of war, I remember that which matters most. We are still here! Tonight, let us make them remember we are not afraid!
Yeah, undefeated, here on Declare Your Independence of me, Ernest Hancock, here in Phoenix, Arizona, from the BEA beautiful studios of Freedom's with an S, freedomsphoenix.com, and we're talking, every other Wednesday, we're going to start doing it in the evening so that it's when he's up. That's good. He's always been a good friend of the show and coming when it's really late there in Japan. So, James Corbett, thecorbettreport.com. Now, real quick, some house cleaning real quick. I'm going to show you on my screen here. We have the show. You go into the archive up here at the top right for Declare Your Independence. And for today's podcast, we have everything Corbett. Now, here are the IPFS, all the data, hundreds of gigs of data of the Corbett Report, the videos, the audio files. We have Pirates Without Borders, Freedom's Phoenix. It's all on IPFS. Now, you go to Corbett, and you'll see up here, ipfs.io. We got it loaded up, and we've been loading up. Here's the videos. And let's see. We're still loading up Pirates. and some of these others, the gateways just timed out. Now, the thing is that we have all the data. Everything, the Corbett report is there, and we're making sure that he's backed up forever and always when we got it. It's just whether you can get it or not. So I was talking to Derek today. I don't know if the network needs to be hit more. So I'd encourage a lot of your guys to go to the show, and if you put in the link, the IPFS link that we have for that, James, and people hitting it, I think it caches it more and it becomes more and more and more and more available. But, I'm thinking the IPFS, this is the solution to a lot of things, and they just aren't going to dig that. And I'm concerned. And I tell you what I was looking forward to talking to, it's not just this. It's this article that you did, the video, Desensitization and Conspiracy Rabbit Holes. And I before we go into anything else, this really hit with me. And I was I recognize what you're talking. Can you tell the audience what you're referring to, and we can discuss it?
So this is based on a thread that was on the conspiracy subreddit recently, and basically the poster was saying that there's been a lot of people posting on that subreddit things like, oh, if you type this blah 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 into your search engine, you'll get this crazy stuff kind of thing.
Don't do that, Yeah.
Exactly. So his point was, don't do that because. And he had 2 points that he made. One that he made quickly and kind of dismissed is that there's an element of conspiracy rabbit hole to it, as in, hey guys, look over here, or don't look over here, or whatever it is. And of course, everyone goes over there where real action could be happening elsewhere. And then the secondary point was that when you start to look at some of the darker stuff in conspiracy lore, there comes a point at which, are you clicking on this because you need this information for your life and to improve your life and to do something with this information? Or are you clicking on it in some kind of sick and twisted form of, if not entertainment, at least some kind of stimulation or something like, ooh, this is dark stuff. Ooh. And there is a point. I think everyone who gets into this stuff, at a certain point, you have to wonder, why am I putting this in my mind right now? Do I need this in my mind? And I think it's an important point for us to cogitate on, and when we start to get into some of the darker stuff.
Yeah, this I tell you, one of the big things that being an activist since the late 80s, and it was, the Franklin scandal, which was a bunch of pedophilia in Washington and so on. Pizzagate, of course, came, and that was a big deal. I've done a couple of shows on child sex trafficking and so on, and it's uncomfortable, and I wanted to do it because there was some stuff just need to get out there, and you try not to pollute people's brains too much. But it's I understood exactly what you were talking about. It's tragedy porn. It's it's why you have drama. And on the TV, primetime television, what do you always have? There's a cop show, hospital. Got to have hospitals, okay? There's lots of drama in hospital. Justify anything hospital. Then, it's forensic shows and so on. The firemen, Emergency 51. I remember that in the 70s as a kid, and it's kind of the drama. And right after I watched your episode that you did on this, I go in, it was later in the evening, Donna was in bed, and she's watching Amsterdam, which is a popular hospital show of whatever. That and The Good Doctor, about an autistic doctor that smart, Doogie Howser grows up or something. And each one of these, she really likes these shows, and it's About Us and all these things. It's drama porn. And it's, it's the most excruciating drama. You have the drama to justify the decision you picked during childbirth. Literally, it was an episode. They're in the middle of childbirth. The head doctor at home, his wife's giving birth. The ambulance is stuck in traffic. They have to do a cesarean. It's getting to where, do we pick the life of the mother or the child? And it's kind of, how many times I go through this scenario? They did a good job, but it's drama porn. And she hates me bringing this. I go, drama porn. What's my? Oh, shut up. It's my show. I like, so I don't want to destroy the show for her, but I can see this is why these shows are popular. And it's always a cop show, fireman, hospital. Now, I can see that that's what they play on. There's something in our mind that is stimulated, we slow down for the wreck. I mean, there's something. The problem is a lot of this stuff I just simply don't want in my mind. I don't need to have, it doesn't do me any good. Things like this will happen, in my life. I've been, averting too much tragedy. I've had some drama, but there hasn't been a lot of tragedy. And is this something you think, I want to talk about it a little bit. What do you think we risk as individuals, going down these holes and having it become part of us? And then you're the guy not welcome at Thanksgiving dinner because you got to tell everybody else, Let's talk about it a little bit.
All right. Well, there's a lot of different subjects that this brings up. One of which is, there are some fundamental basics of human nature that are going on here that obviously have been with us for millennia and presumably for longer than that. But we know, going back to the ancient Greek tragedies and whatever, people go to the theater to experience these larger than life, incredible ideas and situations that you'd never necessarily encounter in your day-to-day life, but you get to feel and experience something like that and think about it, and then catharsis, you can purge the emotions or purify your emotions by,
or not, they leave you hanging at the end and screw you like some movies.
So once you start to commodify it and commercialize it, then you have to make it into, well, now we can play with those emotions and we can hook you into this, and we can basically push buttons on the human programming, and that's where it starts to become something much darker. But there is a sense in which this can be to the good, because we get to confront these ideas and things that, maybe we're not experiencing them in our own lives, but we understand how they can apply to our day-to-day lives and our interactions with people around us, and so what should I be doing and what should I be? So it's a way of us experiencing other things in order to help us in our own day-to-day life.
But that's not how it's used. They already got a predetermined outcome. They already got a solution. They got a government program. They got a taxing, some politician to blame, and this is a good one. The bad. It's already predetermined. They're using the hardwiring of us against us. They do it in politics.
You didn't let me
get
how we go
to war. I'm sorry.
But obviously, I think people have known for a very long time the predictive programming aspects of this type of art form. When it's perverted from a use which can be cathartic and can help us experience and understand the world and be in the world, but it can be used to push us in different directions. And you should be in this direction. So that's one of the aspects that's going on here. But when we think about this specifically, not in the TV world, but in the conspiracy world, then what is it we're experiencing when we're clicking on the latest scandal, the latest whatever, child sex trafficking ring scandal, or digging up this type of information? How far do you go into that information before it starts to become, well, what exactly are you doing with this information, and how is it improving your life?
Are you writing a book, or are you just getting messed up in the head,
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And I did a subscriber only video a couple months ago about this as well, where I was listening to Morning Monarchy, James Evan Pilato's morning podcast. And it was one of those shows. He was going through a story about some woman. I can't remember the details. She'd given like sleeping pills to her 6 children and drove them off a cliff, kind of thing. And I remember I was listening to the story, and it just, as he was telling the story, it was just getting worse and worse and worse. And there was a point where I was thinking about this, like, how could any human being do this to their own children? And I literally ripped the headphones out of my little slave device, because I couldn't take it. I'm like, this isn't helping my life at all at this moment. I don't need this in my mind right now. I'm done.
It's not debated.
And so it made me think about that. I think all of us need to reflect on that. Obviously we need to confront bad information, but how are we doing it, and how are we letting that into our mind? It's a pretty insidious thing.
It's not debated. It's not discussed. It's not options. It's not, a forum. There's not, that never. I give you an example. Recently here in America, I don't even remember where it was. It was a couple of high school students shot some people, and one of them was transgender, and they're on the drugs, kind of, weird stuff. Well, then they have a big rally at the high school, a catharsis, inducing. We got, am I saying the right word? dogs. We got counseling. We're doing, and then they had a rally. Well, some politician came in. I think it was Colorado, and they're talking about, well, of course we got to ban guns, and they're just going, and the students just got up and left. I don't know if you saw that. They're just going, nah, this is not doing us any good. And they, here's high school students. They understood. They were just they go, nah, we're out of here. And they just started walking out. And power to them. I'm just, this, what's being done with this info, this is how we get into wars. And they want to make the enemy less than human. They're the Huns, the Japs, the this, the that, the whatever, and you got the posters, and we got to kill and there's something innately human about this. It's our empathy. It's what makes us human, and it's being weaponized against us. And that's why I'm so supportive of what you do, is that there are the facts, there's what's going on, there's your commentary and opinion, what others are saying, and a solution according to James. Well, there's millions and millions and tens and hundreds of millions of views says, yeah, what James says. So we're making sure, oh yeah, and I got all of it. No, you're never going away. But, we need to make it accessible to everyone. What's the censorship on this? How's that hitting you here of late?
It's actually, I was getting the age restrictions and things before. Now I'm getting a lot more copyright strikes, including some interesting ones. I do a truth music series every summer where I play a video. It's just me playing different songs and things from people who, oh, this is good truth related music. And I've been very careful for the last several years because I know how YouTube is going. So I'm not going to play anything that's on any kind of major label or whatever, obviously, because it'll be immediately flagged. So I've been very careful. I'm only small independent, groups or bands that want to send in their music. I'll play it on.
Yeah, that are freaking thankful that you're doing it.
Exactly. And so I have 2015. I did a version of this where there was one band in particular. They got in touch with me. They said, "Would you play our song here? It will provide you the MP3. Here it is." And I was like, "Sure, yeah." So I played it. Just the other day, 4 years later, I get this notification from YouTube. This has been monetized by CD Baby. And so I look into it, and it's like, yeah, I can see the email conversation I had with this person. They were asking me to play it on the video and everything. So I disputed the claim, and YouTube so YouTube, all they do is they give it to the claimant, CD Baby in this case.
So who's CD Baby?
Says, exactly, who is CD Baby? So if you're a band or whatever, you can upload your music to them, and they'll sell it for you, kind of thing. And
I bet they got a I totally agree.
So suddenly now it doesn't matter. I literally have the artist saying, "Please play this on your video." That doesn't cut it, because CD Baby says, "Well, no, now we own it."
Yeah.
Essentially.
No, I guarantee when they put it up there, they click the "I agree" button. I don't even know if they even read it, and they go, "You load something up, it's ours now." And I remember when they did this years ago with Facebook pictures of your kids. They're going, and they're ours. You totally agreed. I got to mention the audience. They got to go watch Human Centipede. Have you ever seen that South Park episode?
Yeah, I think I did.
Yeah, Human Centipede. You totally agreed. You go watch that, and you'll see what we're talking about. The Bilderberger. How much time we want to spend on that? I mean, it's again. One thing I did look at the list. The chairman this year again is Henry DeCastries, which is, one of the big money behind Blockstream, which is the developers behind Bitcoin. So I'm going, well, next.
Yeah. It doesn't get more blatant than that, does it? Yeah. Well, okay. So if you want to look at the attendee list, some very not surprising things. A couple of interesting ones. Kushner, obviously. Make America great again. Make Bilderberg great again.
Yeah, we just had a story on Kushner. Got like $800 million in some government grant of goodie or something. Did you see that?
No.
All right, well, let's go take a looky-see here, because it was on the front page. We just posted up a bunch of stuff. I mean, things go down fast here. Bilderberg, here we go. All right, Bilderberger 2019 has Jared Kushner, and many other surprises. All right. Bilderberger 29 has officially been announced. Here's what we currently know. Now, there was a another article. Yeah, I should have had it up. I knew if we were going to go to that. But he is getting some kind of benefit in construction with aid from government. And I'm going, yeah, and he's advising the White House. Now I got it. Now, which one is he? There's two of them. There's Justin. What is Ivanka's husband's name? Is that Jared?
Jared.
Okay.
Kushner.
Now, he has a brother. I think his name's Justin. And they started it was kind of like when they did the MERS, which is the mortgage electronic, whatever it was, to where you didn't really have it filed as who the mortgage holder was, and they separated the deed from the note and all this kind of stuff that were going on with the housing. And what they did is they turned your house into a number, and they put it in like a tranche. You have all these homes so that they don't have to change ownership at the county recorder's office or something. They were just trading it on the stock market. You know, and this is illegal as hell, and they didn't have a mechanism. So now when it went foreclosure, California go, yeah, you want us to protect your property rights, but you didn't do it the way they were supposed to. Yeah, you want us to do that? Give us a couple $1 billion, and we'll get right on it. So this went on for years. Well, what Kushner's had done is they did this with commercial real estate. And they went out and they said, hey, we're going to do this with commercial real estate. We're going to sell shares in big buildings and developments and that. And Soros was a big, like tens of millions of dollars investor with the Kushners. And I'm going, wow, man, you can't make this stuff up. And this was right before Trump ran for president. So when I saw this stuff, I'm going, yeah, and they're going to Bilderberger. I'm just not feeling, good about this. And I'm wondering, what do you think they're going to response is to the European Union elections and so on?
I think it'll be fairly predictable because they were talking about populism in Europe, and I'm sure the problem of populism in Europe last year. So this is just another manifestation of that. Perhaps, again, not something that's unforeseeable because we know that social media has been weaponized, right? Weaponized by those evil Russians or whoever who are mind controlling the public with Facebook memes, hundreds of dollars of Facebook memes. Yeah, that's one of the topic items that or the agenda items that caught my interest this year. The weaponization of social media, if for no other reason,
by whom?
That's the exact. Yeah, well, exactly. Well, that's the exact title of episode 332 of the Corbett Report, the weaponization of social media. So clearly, we know they are listening to the Corbett Report. I think we're meant to assume that they're talking about, the evil Russians mind controlling the public through the memes or whatever. When in reality, I would suggest that these are the very people who are and have been weaponizing social media in various ways, and that's what I demonstrated in my podcast episode last year.
There was a I was watching, trying to get up to speed on this European Union vote and everything. And, of course, you come across a lot of Steve Bannon stuff and, Kyle Bass and Nigel Farage and so on. And one of the things that they're bringing up, one of the big deals that they're worried about is just this nationalism, this patriotic, your own country and flag kind of thing. And when we do the Trump report with Dr. Tamburi, and he's, everything Trump, and of course, this time he wanted to talk about the European Union vote because he sees this as the populism, the same thing that brought Brexit, that brought Trump, that brought the European vote, and it's going that way. And I'm going, yeah, and he goes, how come you can't be interested? Why aren't you on board, Ernie? It's, down to the nation state and all that. And I'm just like, they don't give me the option of none. It's always how they're going to rule me and who's going to rule me and which shiny badge from someplace. I don't care.
But Ernie, you should be excited about the nationalist collective. That's so much better than the globalist collective.
Well, I'm not.
You only get to choose one collective, Ernie.
Yeah, you got to choose one. Yeah. Well, I'm not going to give them legitimacy for ruling me. See, that's one thing that was different about America and why America needs to be targeted and taken down, and they're doing a good job of it. Economically, we're screwed. I don't know how this ends. But the whole promise in the Declaration was, the purpose of government, defense of individual rights. Don't do that, time to alter, abolish. Well, if you go to a libertarian candidate and he gets up and goes, all right, we're going to do we're going to protect your individual rights. other than that, peace out. We're not going to, how you're going to spend the money or where you're going to do it, or tax reform to the point of we get to incentivize who wins and who doesn't and yada, yada, yada. If they were to do that, then I never would have got off my couch. I've been, watching football and drinking beer, which is what every American should be free to do, in my opinion. But it takes diligence and vigilance in understanding what's going on, because they're using this very government that was to protect us to take it all away. And I think it's already been taken. I mean, when you look at the debts and deficits, and is there a path out for America? Are we going somehow we're going to get saved?
That's an interesting question, because given the rigged system that exists, what is the path out of that rigged system from within the rigged system? And, it's mind-boggling. I guess there might be a way to thread that needle, but my perspective is it's the rigged system itself. It's got to go. That's not a pleasant answer, though, because there's no way short of some sort of collapse to get from here to there, other than the unlikely event that tens of millions, hundreds of millions of people start heeding our call and start participating in the alternatives, the IPFSs and the cryptos and the precious metals and all the ways you can get out and around the system and build up a new system of individual peer-to-peer transaction. Now that's how we do it. We build up the alternative, but it's going to be hard.
Yeah, here's the story. I found the Kushner thing that I was talking about, so the audience can see it. The title, and this is Bloomberg. And Kushner gets $800 million federally backed apartment loan. Yeah. Kushner, COS dot, whatever that stands for. The real estate firm owned by the family of President Donald Trump's son-in-law and son-in-law Jared Kushner has received about $800 million in federally backed debt to buy apartments in Maryland and Virginia, the company's biggest purchase in a decade. Yeah. No, it wasn't Soros. It was, no, I think it was Soros. This one is co-owned by Warren Buffett and Jefferies Financial. There's just way too much I'm not feeling good about this. And I'm just wondering, one thing that I really enjoy about your work is solutions. And it's just, but you got to clearly identify the problem. And we have, I give you, some stuff that's going on where you're going to play a role, whether you know it or not. I mean, because we have such good videos of certain things like, the century of enslavement with the Federal Reserve. We got 9/11, why big oil, how big oil conquered the world, World War I conspiracy, and others. And how do we make use of these when they're censoring all the social media? Well, we have campaigns. Now, I just found out we're working with Derek Brose, the Conscientious Resistance. He's going to run for mayor in Houston as an anarchist just to bring attention to this kind of stuff. He's going to come here for a week or two, and we're going to make a bunch of signs and do a bunch of stuff for him and have some volunteers and everything. He's going to go back. He's going to get some because the election is this November. So I'm going, yeah. I think they need to be corporatized a little bit, So I got 20,000 blank DVDs over here. I guess what we're going to do.
Awesome.
So this is, and I know that the street activism, this Levolution kind of thing, the stuff that I'm familiar with for decades, is what bypassed the media. The mainstream media, the lamestream media, the media so last century. Then we had the internet to deal with, and now they're taking that. Well, we just go right back to the street. Well, now we have for president, on Friday, I had Jacob Hornberger from Future Freedom Foundation on, and he let slip that he's been going to all the libertarian the state conventions, and he's willing to run for president as a libertarian. Well, now we got Justin Amash, a Republican congressman, the word on the street. I know one of the senior fellows at Cato well, and he's like, yeah, I was talking to him Saturday, and he goes, yeah, Justin, he's going to register as a libertarian in Congress and then run for the libertarian nomination. And I go, against Bumper, good. And the Bumper, Jacob Hornberger, I call him Bumper, but, he goes, yep, and I bet you this Republican campaign management team's going to come in, they're just going to be all libertarian and do libertarian. Yeah, I don't think so. So we got Bill Weld and Barr and Flat Tax Johnson, and we had, way on route up there, screaming whatever, and we have Justin Amash coming in, and then I just got word we have next week another presidential candidate, that's going to come on. I'll be talking to, and all of this I'm happy with if they are educated on what a real libertarian is, what we would, because Jacob is a Catholic. He's a staunch Catholic and a hardcore libertarian, but he believes in the Constitution. So it'd be kind of a Ron Polish thing. Then, of course, you have Adam Kokesh, and he was here Thursday or Friday. Came in, yeah, he's running. Well, yeah, Weld's, a good friend of mine. He liked my book. I see this education opportunity coming, and I want to take advantage of it. And we're going to, I'm not even asking you for permission. We're going to make DVDs of James Corbett. What say you? Not that I care.
Well, exactly. It doesn't matter, but, power to you. That's exactly why I create this.
Yes.
So if you can spread it, spread it.
That's
this is the only aspect of the 2020 selection circus that I will be at all interested in or pleased about would be the educational possibilities.
Well, give us some of the stuff that you've done. I got pencil and paper right here. What ones do you think that, because we can compress, they're 4.8 gig or something like that, and we've done like 6 movies, 9/11 stuff over during the Love Illusion. We just threw a bunch of crap in there and compressed them. So we can probably get at least 4 or 5 hours worth of stuff on it, and you still have a quality TV experience. It may not be HD, but we can put a lot on there. What are the videos that you have you think you might want us to include?
I'm going to throw this one to the audience, because they might have a better perspective on it than I do. But for the 2020 cycle, what will be the push-button issues? Because I don't know. Century of Enslavement is kind of evergreen, but it's not particularly relevant to this moment in time.
Oh, yes, it is. When the economy goes to crap.
But no one knows it. It's like the perfect time for that would have been the 2008 election, when you had the Lehman collapse and everything, and people are wondering what the hell's going on. That would have been the perfect moment for it, right?
No, I think they're educated because they watched it.
World War I, again, is a fascinating thing, but is it particularly relevant? Are voters in 2020 going to be thinking about that? I
don't know. It gives you a history. They don't understand.
I would go with why big oil. I think that's the most important. Because those issues are so fundamental, and it relates very much to the whole green movement and the technocracy stuff that's coming out, that are becoming more and more part of the conversation. You'll notice that the Greens won a big part in that European election recently. So there's
well, you got how big oil. I think that was the good first one, and then why. Yeah, why gives a lot of, I don't know, man. You do a lot of good stuff. All right, hit me with some others. I got written down here, Century of Enslavement, World War I conspiracy, your 9/11 stuff, how big oil and why big oil. What would be, I wouldn't have one without the other, and we'll have make room.
Yeah, you need them together.
Sure. But give me some other issues. What about health stuff or 5G or surveillance grid?
I had the Rockefeller medicine, but that's a bit old at this point. It's about it's more like Obamacare kind of stuff, which it's still relevant. How about if you just wanted something for a general population, something like top 5 conspiracy theories that turned out to be true, that's meant for the normies out there.
Yeah,
so that would be something.
I got that up. I haven't watched it yet. You just did that.
Oh, there you go.
Top 5. Now, the top 5 conspiracies that turned out to be true. That was the thing, right?
Yeah. Debunking a century of war lies might be good, because we are obviously heading into
what's the title?
War lies season.
What's the title? I want to make sure I find
Debunking a century of war lies.
Debunking century of war lies. Do you think we're going into another war? They're trying like hell. I got Trump out there going, I'm not real happy with John Bolton. If it was up to him, we'd be in 4 or 5 wars right now. He keeps trying, but I keep holding him back, and I use him. I got my pit bull on the chain, but you never know. What do you think's really going on here?
I can't predict the future. I don't know, but I do know that the prime time to be worried about this would be moving into the 2020 elections, because of course, what does any incumbent ever want to do? Want to be a war president who can pound his chest and rally people around the flag. So that's the prime time to launch some sort of fake nonsense.
War is the health of the state. It gives them the ability to justify a bunch of stuff. But is that forever and always going to be true that people, we're in a war, you don't change horses midstream kind of, wag the dog crap? And I'm going, that's one thing we're going to do. We're going to have a wag the dog viewing party here, a movie night with a lot of the guys, because a lot of people haven't seen it. And it was the late 90s, and it was Robert De Niro and Dustin Hoffman, and whatever your opinion on those guys. But it was definitely, how they use war and threat of war and all that to get elected. That was what the point was. And is that going to work forever? Are we going to be enlightened enough, or are they just saying that it does?
Yeah, well, there's that aspect to it, because, again, the votes are rigged anyway, even if you do care about voting,
right.
So... who cares? But they do need some amount of public consent to what they do, and I think that's part of the manufacturing of that.
Manufactured public consent.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you gotta present the narrative, and then make everyone believe that everyone else believes the narrative. So you're strange because you don't believe the narrative, and then everyone will kind of go along.
I tell you, James, this is one thing that I found out. They don't try to convince me anymore. They're kind of past that. They got us segmented and polarized out and whatever, and they're never going to believe no matter what we give them, and that kind of thing. And I'm going, they don't have to convince you. They just have to confuse you, and they have to convince you that your neighbors are confused. Yeah, you know what's going on. It's all those other stupid people that voted for the other guy. It's them. You're okay, but everybody else is stupid. And I'm going, I trust humanity a little bit more. A lot of people don't have a lot of faith in the mob as much as I do. When they're given the facts and just the option to not vote. Hell, there's a whole bunch of people not voting. There might be the smarter ones. So it's all about general public opinion, where you spend your money, how you educate your children, how you raise your family. These are the things where you are so important, and why I'm putting so much effort into making sure your stuff doesn't go away.
Two things. One is that if we're going to give something out to people, we should give something solutions oriented, right? Yeah. So something like solutions, spontaneous order, solutions, what's another good solutions? One package fits all. I like my peer-to-peer economy one. What one was that? What was the title?
This is something the audience, they can really, I would hope that they would, my email is publisher@freedomsphoenix.com. You just publisher@freedomsphoenix.com. You can communicate with James and kind of come up with a consolidation. Do you have I know you don't really track your traffic on a lot of your stuff, because a lot of these platforms, you can't trust them anyway, especially YouTube. I've known that's BS for a decade. But do you have some internal tracking, what your most popular stuff is?
Nope.
I know.
I used to have a plugin for my site that was statistics. I never really even checked it, and it conflicted with some update or something, so I just got rid of it. I haven't looked back, so I have no idea.
Power to you. I get criticized for that. We had the power. I tell you what happened. Because we have so much stuff, we had an internal tracking, and I could see that, but it didn't marry at all with any of the other social media. And so I'm going, they'll say a YouTube thing that we put up, it got 450 views. And I go, God, it was downloaded 4,000 times. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. So I'm just going, never mind. And then I get kind of a 500, I subscribe to go to the bottom of Freedom's Phoenix. You'll see, the stat counter. And it has, 20, 30 million views or something. And I'm going, I don't really care, because it just only gives me a rotating the last 500 people. So I see the same stuff, the most popular stuff that'll keep staying up there. But I don't know. I don't, because that tracking, that number, that clickbait, that, what went, because early on, there were two stories that just went stupid. One was some Oprah thing about, not ordering water with lemon in it because you get bacteria when they, whatever the hell. And then something about Britney Spears' belly button ring or something. I don't know what the hell it was. And these, I'm going, that's it, done. I'm not even, because I know that's how they do it. When Huffington Post started, that was right before the '06 election. It was the Crawford, Texas. They were all camped out, Camp Casey, and Cindy Sheehan was there, and I was covering it for Air America. And I was there for a week. And I saw all of these Common Dreams and Daily Cause and Raw Story and all these liberal rags that were just individuals that, were part of the Move On sphere. And they came in and started, and they each got a bunch of money, and they built up their thing. And then Huffington Post came. Huffington Post brought a lot of these bloggers and so on and came in. And when she sold it for hundreds of millions of dollars, a gazillion dollars for, I don't know, database or something. When she sold it, all these bloggers, go, hey, what about our cut? We busted our ass. Hey, you're lucky we even published it. Shut up. Well, what they were doing is what Alex Jones used to do a lot, what Zero Hedge does a lot. It's you take and you look at Google Trends, you see what is trending, whatever the hell that means. What the most popular. Then you write an original article, you pull in a bunch of different stuff, you put a video, some gizmos and gadgets, and say something about something, and you got a fresh story, and you have to publish at Zero Hedge every 20 minutes. Boom, 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 boom. And how it works is by having an original story on a discussed popular topic, you build an audience. Unless it's not what they want you to say. Unless you're touting the left side of whatever. So places like Zero Hedge gets deplatformed on Facebook. Now they go back up and they ouch quit it and back and forth. But it's so manipulated, and I've seen this for a decade from the beginning. During the Levolution, you could see what was happening. And I go, nope, this is not where I'm investing a bunch of my time. And it's great to hear that you're like, I'm not looking at the number. I'm doing
that's
what I want to do.
Exactly why I don't care about the view counts or whatever. I'm not in this to get people to click. I just don't care. I am doing this because I'm interested in this subject. I'm going to research this subject, and I'll talk about this subject. Okay, next subject. And that's the only barometer I have.
What interests you? What is the thing? I love everything you do, and so it's kind of confirmation bias, I guess. I go, what he said, that's freaking, yay. But what interests you? What is it that gets your attention?
I don't know. I'll let you know when I figure that out. I can say that I am not at all interested in the day-to-day news cycle of American politics at this point. And I used to cover that kind of stuff, and now I don't. And sometimes people are like, oh, why aren't you covering, the Mueller report and, whatever, William Barr and whatever the latest controversy is. I couldn't care less.
Yeah, I believe him anyway. It's like the 9/11 commission report. I was like, yeah, we're done.
Well, that I'm actually interested in, because at least there's something there about something important, but Mueller and all of this nonsense.
The 9/11, they didn't even mention Building 7. They didn't talk about a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden now...
That's interesting, and then you talk about that.
Right. Okay, you got me there. But the thing that has just come out, they're going, we have reports that the Israelis really knew what was coming in 9/11, and, don't tell anybody. We just found out, kind of. I'm going, and nobody cares anymore. They're like, we knew that already. We watched Corbett Report, So there's, in the future, what's coming up, there's so many great things. I spend most of my spare time on tech, because I remember when I first started Freedom's Phoenix, almost 15 years ago. I would sit on Saturday and I would go through all the science. I take the time and I just go get. So the weekend edition, we do one edition on Saturday night or something for Sunday morning reading kind of thing at the time. And I would go and get all this science stuff. And now before we went on air, I was watching a 3D printing of a rocket. They go from the nozzle all the way up. It's a metal 3 welding robots and they just 3D printing metal, a rocket. And I go, okay, there's that. You want to talk cheap? We're talking some cheap now. So this is what interests me. Food production, water desalination, energy. There's so much, and a lot of it's being done by other countries, including China. And I'm just going, there's something has to change. I don't see a future for America that's going to be bright and opportunities for grandkids kind of thing.
Yeah. I hear you, and that is fascinating stuff, and it's exciting, and there's potential for solutions in there, and of course, potential for dark side of new technology as well. But it's I'm glad that you're keeping on top of that stuff because it's not something
60 communication satellites just got put up this last week by Elon Musk, part of his 400 that's going to be 4,000, it'll be 8,000, it'll be 12,000. I mean, we're going to have a mesh of satellites all around, and, freedom reigns if it's not controlled.
Personally, I'm not a Musk fan, but I appreciate what that represents in terms of the possibility of that that technology being further decentralized, so we don't have to wait for Elon Musk to give it to the masses.
You're going to like this. Couple of days from now, Friday, I have Eric Peters on. Now, Eric Peters, I don't know if you see his stuff. He writes a lot of stuff. He's on Lou Rockwell a lot. And he's a big internal combustion engine guy. He hates electric cars and Elon Musk with a passion. Right. So I'm just going, I'll let him go, man. And I'm just going to, man, what's your thing about electric cars? All I can think of is the next freaking fuel pump, water pump, vacuum hose, crap belt, BS I got to work on again. To give me.
I'm not opposed to electric cars on principle, but just the Tesla is obviously just a scam, and it has been from the start, and it's government funded scam.
How is it government funded? What does everybody talk about?
Oh, I did look this up. I did. I
remember there was the original loan. They paid that back. But, the card issue shouldn't be getting anything anyway. But they're talking about the subsidy for electric cars. And that's about to run out for them. And then I think Congress is going to re-up it again. And he's like, hey, do away with all the subsidies, all the energy things. I don't, but what am I not going to take it? So I'm not a fan that I'm going to go invest and do it, but I can see the mantra that's going on. It's Steve Jobs all over again with Apple. It's a community. It's a cult.
Yeah, exactly. And I can't remember where it was. It was a few years ago. I wrote an editorial about Musk and what a charlatan he is. So it'll have a lot more detail in there, but you'll have to search my archives for that. But the latest one was the Hyperloop thing, whatever he was talking about. Oh, we're, the boring company, we're going to make these 600 miles of tunnel under California, and it's going to be blah, blah, blah. And now that has transformed over the past couple of years into, it's going to be a one-lane car tunnel. No fancy technology, no Hyperloop or anything. It's just going to be a car tunnel. It's like everything he ever announces is like,
there's a couple of different things.
And then it turns out
there's the urban, road system thing that he's doing now because he wants to get to SpaceX faster from home, I think. And he goes, how many millions of dollars and I don't have to put up with LA traffic? Yeah, man, if I had $10 million and I didn't have to put up with LA traffic, I might be, doing that 100, a billion, whatever. But so the Hyperloop is something different, and then you have the cars, and then now they're got the contract. They're doing the boring from the airport in Las Vegas to the Strip, and I'm going, that's probably a good idea, having been there and how that works. But because they got robot taxis now in Vegas, and now they have some China company is making. They're geared up. They're producing 30,000 automated taxis a year, and they just started production. And I'm going, this is coming really fast. And the smart city thing, you been paying attention to that at all?
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I'm just working on a report now about 5G and the Internet of Things and smart cities and how this is all coming together as part of the surveillance grid.
To what end? What do you think? They need a smart city, be smart about us, and smart because why?
Well, I mean, anyone who has any questions about it, just look at Sidewalk Labs and the kerfuffle, the boondoggle in Toronto. Basically, they came out with this idea, hey, we've got this area here, the Quayside in Toronto, and we're going to build it from the ground up, and it's going to be a complete smart city kind of thing where everything will be integrated and it'll be the newest tech. And, oh, by the way, we'll be scooping up every single bit of data, and the companies that are involved in this project will be able to use it however we want. But don't worry, we'll ask them to de-identify the personal data at source. I mean, we can't make them do anything, but we'll ask them to do it.
Yeah, I just saw a story that students were being facial recognition without their knowledge or permission. And we went through this in the late 90s, early 2000s, University of Arizona, they were giving out credit cards to all students, but part of the deal to get the credit card, which caused issues right away, was that they gave up their privacy. I totally agree. It's all this I totally agree terms of, hey, we wrote it there on page 47. It says, blah, blah, blah. And it was Terry Bressey, which is Checkpoint USA. Am I being detained? The astronomer at Kitt Peak that works out of University of Arizona, who was a student there, that challenged this. So they knew that when they start trying to get him fired from University of Arizona for not, answering questions at checkpoints and so on, going to the observatory all the time, they knew. They go, yeah, we just kind of, don't use the company truck anymore. That's all we had, because they knew that he would sue. He's going, we're going to find out what's up on this, and he does all his own. So it takes just certain individuals to push back. Do you think there's enough? Is there enough?
Here's a happy, helpful story for you. We just covered it on New World Next Week, which we just recorded, but will be released later today, my time. Apparently in New York, there was an apartment building. The landlord switched to these smart locks things. There's no physical locks on your doors. You got a card or whatever to get in. I'm not sure exactly how the system worked, but
like a hotel,
the tenants complained. The tenants complained they didn't want that because of privacy and security concerns, as you can imagine. And so they won some sort of case against the landlord, and they're going back to physical locks, which is good because people might remember the hotel ransom story from a couple of years ago, where there was a hotel in Europe somewhere that got locked down because hackers broke in and locked every door in the hotel and said, we'll unlock it for you if you give us some Bitcoin. So there's
the NSA just had all their surveillance tools, data, whatever, and they're shutting down the city of Baltimore.
Right. Yeah.
And your city's next. If we don't, I'm going, can I have a key? Can I have a key?
Imagine that. Physical locks and physical media, actual paper books and
think about this. Records. Do you think it's time for a local newspaper?
Yes. It's never a bad time, is it? Yes.
I don't know. I mean, it's when we were doing it was the peak of the. There was a saying by L. Neil Smith. He always says, you attack the enemy's strength. No, you attack their strength. Once you defeat them there, the rest is just a mop-up operation. And because if you beat them there, then so what we did is we took that to heart and we did our own newspaper for years, and it was just parody of them or real story. It's kind of the James Corbett of newspapers that we spread all over, and we got a lot of positive effect from that. I'm wondering if it's time again. If we're going to go old school, we go 2020 election campaign starting probably after Labor Day is when it usually starts get
Here's
going.
The way it works. You have to take the angle of you're not going to get this online anymore because of the clampdown.
Oh yeah,
right?
no, that's
and
exactly
then
why.
This is the new underground. It's the actual physical paper,
Yeah, see, it's got to be called the underground. I for a long time I got I was really planning on doing this. It just never seemed like the right time. I got the domain pen and ink and paper, pen and paper, or something like that. And the reason I got that is I wanted it to be, the cover would always be black and white, and it had stylistic, kind of, black and white codolith kind of, drawings and so on, kind of like the front page of the Wall Street Journal used to be. And so I just thought it'd be unique, and we'll do that. And I just never, and we have the Freedom's Phoenix e-zine in the newspaper that we've done, but we haven't done it on a regular basis in large numbers like we used to with subscribers. I mean, we may actually do a subscription model, include a newspaper. And the reason is it's a lot of work, and distribution is a thing, and we could probably do it by mail. But when we just put them out everywhere, we go to, people would just take them, put them in libraries. They put them, when we would do the first publication, when we first get it, we go down town, and we go in the high rises and all the government buildings, and you'd have a stack that you get on the elevator, and every floor you get off, and you put like 2 or 3 on the reception desk, and you get back in the elevator, go up, do it again, do it again, do it again, do it again, and it just spread. In one afternoon, we'd have 6, 7 guys, and we'd have thousands out there, and all of a sudden we'd start hearing about it. And it was because these are the people, you would think they got jobs, and I'm wondering, what do you think the new media, is there going to be a new media? I mean, we're trying to make the internet available with your stuff so that it's not being censored, but how do you get people to go there? So we need the street activism sign revolution kind of thing.
Yep. And that's the thing. I mean, people...
QR codes.
These days,
I like QR codes.
These days, what do you call them? The junk mail of today is spam. I mean, it's the electronic garbage that we're being inundated with, and everyone has 8 million links that they get every single day from 8 million different sources. That's kind of the I don't even want to deal with it kind of stuff of today. Now imagine someone giving you a physical newspaper. That actually, in this day and age, is something different. Back 10 years ago, maybe it was the other way around. But now we're at the point where physical could actually be kind of the new angle to it.
I don't know, if I sent you any of our newspapers that has the QR code
electronically, yeah, I've seen them.
Yeah, you the physical newspaper, you go to your local diner and you open it, and each article has a QR code for the article. So it makes your tablet or your phone.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
Interactive
online, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So that I think we're always 5-10 years ahead. I mean, but we know how to do it. We've done it. Yeah. We can continue.
And imagine
to do
if that QR code sends you to an IPFS server.
Yeah.
You're getting
hopefully
stuff on the new internet.
Well, if you go to freedomsphoenix.com, I'll show the audience here. You go to freedomsphoenix.com. At the top here, it says online magazine newspaper. You go to the newspaper and you just, let's see, the latest edition. You go here. Now, you can read it as a PDF. You can, put it on your tablet and it reads like a magazine. But when you go into the actual paper, so let's go with a smaller file here. Open that. You open the PDF, and what we were talking about is each article has its own QR code for everything. I mean, some of the pages are just lousy with QR codes, but it's the reason we do that is because it makes it interactive with the internet, Yep. So it's I like it. It's a good idea, but I don't know how it's getting funky here.
And I'm telling you, you make it the angle that this is the stuff the being censored online. That's the angle for this. Because why do I need a physical newspaper? It's because you can't get this on Facebook anymore.
Yeah, we call it the underground paper of something.
Yeah. I'm thinking like digital underground, but this isn't digital. So what do you call
it kind of is. It's interactive. Interactive digital underground or something. It's we're going to do something. For 2020, I think, from my perspective though, it's kind of like the last hurrah. I'm going, God, it's not like we haven't warned you guys. We've been making sure that, people know this. So now I'm like, then what? At some point, are you going to, foreseeable future, you're continuing to do this because you enjoy it, it's fun, and people like it?
Well, that's the thing. I'm not doing this for any external validation so much as this is what I do. So I'll keep doing it as long as I can continue to do it. That's the real question.
Yeah.
How long can I continue?
Well, what would be something that would prevent you?
I mean, obviously the first and foremost obvious one would be some sort of payment problem. Suddenly I can't receive payments from people around the world, then suddenly I can't do this for a living.
Well, you're popular. You get enough to pay your bills, right?
Oh, yes, I do. And I appreciate that from my subscribers. But I'm saying if one of the payment processors...
Yeah, well, what are the payment processors that you... I mean, all right, well, I don't want to... target you, put a...
Yeah, don't give them any ideas.
Yeah, I don't put a laser pointer on anything, but I mean, you have... Patreon accounts, and that was a big thing. And we got everything. I went and got all of the, just so we could reserve Freedom's Phoenix for everything, every social media, everything, library, Minds, Steam, Patreon, PayPal. We got everything, but I never turned on any of the Patreon. Have you tried Patreon yet?
Yeah, I'm on Patreon. Yep.
Is that worth doing?
Yes, I mean it is, but I had a bunch of people cancel over the last several months because of the Sargon
Yeah.
thing and all of that, and so everyone started leaving, which is great. Yeah, I stick it to the man, but a lot of people just canceled their pledges and didn't find another way to subscribe to me. So it's like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm gonna stick it to the man by not supporting Corbyn.
The only one that I really promote on the site that we do is PayPal. And
Hmm.
PayPal, that you have a monthly contribution, one time discount. So that was, we were kind of in this subscription or just supporting thing with PayPal because it was easy and they take credit cards and whatever. And so we did that. But anything, if it's not decentralized, I mean, it's just as a default, I'm going decentralized on everything just because I know it's just going to get shut down. It's going to get worse. It's not going to get better.
Well, if you're American in America with American audience that are sending you American dollars, I mean, there are a lot more options for you. But as a Canadian in Japan, who has a lot of people in America and Europe and everywhere else,
You're screwed.
there are very, very few options.
Well, what are the options you think? I mean, now we have crypto, and that's been, it's still in its infancy. That's got, things to do. But there's a lot of, every year you look back, what's been accomplished in a year, quite a bit. A lot of stuff. But, Bitcoin is going to be, GoldmanSucks.gov coin here directly. It's going to...
Henry de Castries, right?
Yeah, Henry de Castries, man. He would, yeah, he's chairman of this year's Bilderberg, and he has been in the past. And his insurance conglomerate was a big funder behind Blockstream, which is developers that kind of took over Bitcoin. And I'm going... I don't know how much further I got to go down the rabbit. I didn't even have to go down the rabbit hole. I just saw the hole.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
There's the hole. Yeah, peace out, So what are some of the stories that you think are going to be big for 2020? I mean, you have so many good things here, and I don't want to discount a lot of the recent material that you've done, but that desensitization and conspiracy rabbit hole thing really got me. And then, first day came for your fingerprints. Well, now the FBI is just, we want you to just give them. You're not a criminal. You haven't been fingerprinted. Well, what's wrong with you, boy?
Well, now it's about DNA, of course. And they're not asking. They're just taking it from Ancestry.com, 23andMe, because people are giving people their DNA.
Are you familiar with the story? It was a state legislator in California. His wife, came across and made a big deal out of it, and found out that the blood that when they prick the heel of a newborn infant, they put it on a card. It's an actual physical card, and they have like 5 or 6 dots across it, and they go dot, 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 dot.
Yep.
Well, they sell that DNA to health providers, insurance researchers, whatever, going through the DNA. And then
the Pentagon also has access to it. They've used it for research.
Well,
I wrote about this a decade ago. Yeah.
Well, do they also identify they say they don't, but I call BS on that, So I mean,
it's explicitly tied to your identity on the card, right? So right. I don't know how they're going to de-identify that. But anyway, that's and the funny thing is, a decade ago, that sounded like outlandish conspiracy theory. It had already been ongoing since the 1950s, I think, at that point, or 60s. So
really, I know that they've been taking. I didn't know about this until I started having children. They take the blood. I don't remember them taking the blood and pricking the kids here in Arizona. I don't remember that. But it doesn't surprise me, and I know that they probably do it. But the freaking California obviously are. So what's the other threats that we got? You're talking about 5G. What's your opinion on that?
Essentially, it is the backbone for the Internet of Things, which is the technocrat's dream. You can't have technocracy without a constant communication of every object in the world talking to every other object in the world, and one of the pieces of that puzzle is 5G. Another one that was interesting to me is IPv6. They have to update the IP address system because there aren't enough addresses anymore. Why? It's not because there are too many people, it's because there are too
billions
many
of items. Yeah.
And with IPv6, they're talking about how now there are enough addresses. Literally every single thing that has ever been manufactured in the history of humanity could have its own individual address. Like every single floor tile in your floor could have its own address.
I remember having this explained to me. It's not that you have an RFID chip for the 12-pack of Coca-Cola. it's each individual can has its own ID.
Yep.
So, I mean, what could you do with that? The other thing is these RFID chips are like a period on the ingredients list on it. I mean, it's just you can't even see it. And they're talking about at rallies and events, they just throw the dust on the crowd. And they just track it through the airports. They just know where everybody goes.
DARPA's been talking about that for a couple decades. But, that's crazy conspiracy theory, right?
Yeah,
anyway,
right up until you're not crazy.
To my next interview.
Hey, sorry to keep you long. Thanks for doing this. I just wanted to give you an update. We're still working on it. It's working now. But our whole thing is we have the Corbett Report totally archived, separated by MP3s, video, and the text form, and it's right here. And we got it, and we're making it to where it's available so it never goes away because James needs to keep doing what James is doing. James, thank you very much for spending time with me, buddy.
Thanks for having me on.
Peace.
Bye-bye.